afternoon. Welcome back to Football League World TV. It's time for the latest EFL transfer zone of the day. It is, of course, deadline day, and we're looking at the latest set of rumours and stories that have done the rounds in the last couple of hours. I'm your host, George Dagless, and joining me this afternoon is Adam Jones. Adam, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you. It's been quite a busy day, and I'm sure it'll get even busier later. So yeah, it's an exciting day, and I'm really excited to get into this.
Yep, certainly been a hectic deadline day so far. Just a few hours left now for clubs up and down the country to get their deals done. Wherever you're watching, do get in touch with us. We're across Facebook, YouTube and Twitter for the next 15, 20 minutes looking at the latest deals that are getting done. Let us know, what does your club need in the final hours of the window? Let's get going. Adam, we're going to start talking Jed Spencer. Being reported by James Ollie at ESPN that Tottenham have had two offers rejected for the Middlesbrough loanee, on loan, of course, from Nottingham Forest. The bids, in fact, were last week short of the £15 million valuation that Forest have for Jed Spencer. It sounds like now, unless something drastically changes in the final few hours, that he will be remaining on loan at Forest from Borough and then maybe moving on in the summer. What do you make of the valuation, first of all? It's quite a lot of money, isn't it?
It is, but then you kind of forget sometimes that he's only 21. You're kind of thinking that he's in his mid-20s. The ability that he has, and kind of the maturity really that he's shown since going to the City ground. I think it could have been easy for him to kind of mentally collapse a little bit, because obviously he's been kind of deemed surplus to requirements really by Neil Warnock back in the summer. So yeah, it does surprise me a little bit. I think we said it was 10 million not too long ago, but I'm not really surprised that it's kind of risen because he really is showing his prowess, and he's showing it on a consistent basis as well. And that's the key thing, is that consistency. So for me, obviously it is a big price, obviously, for a Championship player. But he's only 21. He's already an integral part of Forest's team, and to be honest, I think he does easily command that fee. So yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise looking at it on paper, but no, I think he's worth it, to be honest. If Tottenham did make that investment,
I guess, I mean, as it stands, it kind of looks like he's going to be remaining at Forest for the remainder of the season. That's good news for them, isn't it? I mean, he's been brilliant since joining on loan from Middlesbrough.
yeah, I mean, he's been absolutely integral at right wing back. I remember him right from the very start of his loan being, so important alongside the likes of Max Lowe, as well as those two players that were absolutely integral to their success under Steve Cooper with the wing backs, and also reverting back to a back four as well, which you have to be commended for, that kind of adaptability of being able to play both roles. So yeah, there's absolutely no real kind of doubts about his quality kind of going forward. And to me, there is like a couple of things obviously that he can work on going backwards, but he's only 21, so he's going to make mistakes. But luckily for Forest, those ones are rare. And for me, he's got the attacking intent alongside the likes of Brennan Johnson on that right hand side to kind of guide Nottingham Forest into that top six. And I think for me, the right side for them is going to be absolutely crucial, obviously with Lewis Grabban's injury as well. So yeah, I think he's absolutely, it's absolutely vital that he stays there, and thank God for them that he is. I'm not 100% sure on the rules really about regarding playing for three clubs in a season or whatever, but regardless, the fact that they've got peace of mind now that they can keep him is a massive plus.
Okay, that's one player looking set to stay at Forest, at least for the time being. Let's talk now about a player that looks like he's on his way into the City ground. And that player is Sam Surridge. John Percy has reported in the last few minutes that Forest have agreed a £2 million fee with Stoke City to sign the striker. Medical set for this afternoon, and all being well, should go through before the deadline. Cardiff had been looking at him earlier on today, but it looks like Forest have come in and been more successful than the Bluebirds, I think it's fair to say. Steve Cooper's obviously worked with Sam Surridge before. Adam, what do you make of this deal as it stands? It looks like a potential placement for Lewis Grabban, who's obviously picked up an injury at the weekend, and obviously Lyle Taylor's left the club now as well.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I think they did obviously need a striker to come in, but his scoring record, at the likes of AFC Bournemouth and even Stoke, like they aren't the very best. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one to me in terms of that. But he has worked with Cooper before, and Cooper has absolutely worked wonders with Rhian Brewster in the past during, I think it was the 1920 season, that second half. where he was absolutely fantastic. So they can only hope that Cooper works that same magic with Sam Surridge, and kind of gets the best out of him. Obviously, with Lewis Graben's injury as well, as you mentioned there, he also sometimes plays as a winger in a 3-4-3 formation. So he's not always kind of that kind of man in the centre. So they did need a new striker. Absolutely no doubt about that whatsoever. But yeah, I think they did need a forward, but I'm not sure if this is the right man. But then you say, well, who else is he going to go for? And Stoke might be able to, might be willing to cash in for a cut price fee. And if that's the case, then if Cooper already knows him, then this move could work out for the best. But on paper at the moment, I'm not 100% sure. I'm a little bit skeptical, as we talked about before we went on air.
Are you a little bit surprised as well at the fee? Adam Stoke paid more than that when they signed him. He was on a long-term contract as well with the Potters.
Yeah, I mean it's £2 million. It's less than half, and I thought it was a bit of a risk to take on him £5 million, or what it was reported at. And considering like Stoke have been very financially shrewd as well in the summer, so that kind of move, that £5 million move, came out with a blue really. So in terms of their part, it's not a very good deal considering he didn't really have the best scoring record at Bournemouth either, and that's the reason why we were so surprised about the price tag. So yeah, I mean it's a bit of a strange one to me. Not exactly the permanent move now, but the permanent move to Stoke back in the summer. But if they can recoup a fee for him, considering they've got other strikers at their disposal as well, and Michael O'Neill might not have really liked the look of him after a few months, then if they can get some money from him now rather than late, kind of wait until later and not getting as much, then they may as well take the money now, even if they take a loss, then they may as well cut their losses.
Okay, we'll see what happens. That's Sam Surridge heading to the City ground, and that's had potentially a knock-on effect with another striker in the Championship. That striker being Narky Wells. Cardiff City earlier in the day made a loan offer to sign him from Bristol City. They had that turned down. They also turned their attention to the Bluebirds to Sam Surridge, who, as we've just mentioned, is now on his way to Nottingham Forest. So Cardiff have gone back to Bristol City, as per the Bristol Post, and have offered improved terms for a loan offer to sign Narky Wells for the remainder of the season. Adam, Wells to Cardiff, potentially a good signing, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be a good move. Obviously, he's a proven scorer as well, and he's got a point to prove as well to Nigel Pearson. Because he's been left out at the expense of likes of Semenyo and Martin. So, yes, it's a good signing. I think here for more as well going. I think it makes it essential that they get another man in. Um, I think it's good as well that they've got another type of striker coming in as well. I think Jordan Hugill would kind of do that care for more kind of thing, like he went into West Brom to do, kind of Hugill, that kind of holding the play up. So the fact that they've got a different kind of man coming in kind of Wells, I think is a really good decision for them. And he's obviously, as I said before, he's proven goal scorer in the Championship. So for me, it's a very good signing, and if they can pull it off, then I think it's kind of worth taking the blow for Keir for more. I know that he's a very good player, but obviously I think he's only got about 18 months left on his contract. So yeah, it's a difficult decision, but 3.5 million or whatever it was, or 5 million, it's something I think in between there. If they take that and then take Narky Wells on loan, then it's probably a good bit of business. But hopefully they can sign him permanently in the summer if he does well. I think that would be a good idea. But obviously Cardiff are not in the very best financial situation, so we'll see what happens on that one.
Do you think we could, potentially see a slightly changed playing style from Cardiff? If Narky Wells is suddenly leading the line and Kiefer Moore isn't, you've kind of surely got to change your approach a little bit in the attacking sense.
I think they'll go for a 3-4-1-2. To be honest, with Hugill starting as well. I think that both of them are too good not to be starting in the Championship. So even though Hugill's had not a great spell at West Brom, I think I think both of them have to start. So I think it'll be a 3-4-1-2 as they've played before. And I think that would be a good way for them to go as well, with the one attacking midfielder, maybe Ruben Cole or someone like that. And they've got Rules and and other players back there as well who can do a job in central midfield. So I think it will be a two up top maybe. Whether they've got enough great striking options to do that, remains to be seen. But I think it would be hard to see kind of Wells go there and sit on the bench, or indeed Hugo go there and sit on the bench like he did at West Brom during the last stage of his spell. So for me, that wouldn't make sense. And yeah, I think for me, both of them have got to start together. So I think that he'll go with the two up top.
Yeah, of course, Hugo and Wells have a good understanding, having played together. The likes of QPR not too long ago scored some good goals, good amount of goals there as well under Mark Warburton. So we'll be looking to reignite that relationship at Cardiff if this loan deal from Bristol City does indeed go ahead. Okay, let's move to Steven Sessegnon now. Had been linked with Hull City in recent days, but sounds as though Plymouth Argyle might now win the race to bring him on loan. That's according to Alex Crook at TalkSport, at least. Adam, Steven Sessegnon, obviously the brother of Ryan Sessegnon, a player that left Fulham and went on to Spurs, and was looking to try and make a real career for himself in the Premier League. Steven Sessegnon, do you think potentially needs to drop down to League One though? And maybe start his career or kickstart his career there, having not been able to break into that obviously hugely talented Fulham team?
Well, he'll be one of the first names on the team sheet for sure. And I think for me, it might be worth the drop down maybe, and there's also a chance of them getting into the Championship as well. So there could be a long term move there, which I think could be very good for them. I think regardless anyway, if Steven Sessegnon impresses in League One for the remainder of the season, I think he'll get a move back to the Championship anyway. So this is definitely one I think that he should be seriously considering for the sake of his career. I think first team minutes have to be the priority. Not under 23s football anymore. He's 21 now, so he's got to really start playing now at a senior level. And I think for me, that would be a good option for him to go to Plymouth under a really progressive manager as well, and exciting times really at Plymouth. Even though Ryan Lowe's gone, I think it's a decent move for them, and I think it's one that they should pursue, and I think it's one that he should consider. So I think for all parties it would be a good move, and if he does move if they do get promoted to the Championship, then I think it's one that they could perhaps pursue for the long term. Maybe I'm being a little bit deluded here, but I think it's one that they should definitely be looking at. It'll be interesting to see whether they can pull that one off. It would be nothing short of a coup, really, at League One level. So it'll be interesting to see.
Okay, we'll see what happens with Steven Sessegnon, but could be on course for a loan to Plymouth Argyle before the deadline. Up next, we're talking Mason Burstow, Charlton Athletic. Been reported, Thomas Tangard, in fact, has said that currently no side has reached the valuation that Charlton have on Burstow. Obviously, a very talented young player, one of so many that have come through at the Valley in the past. Adam, the likes of Chelsea are being linked with him, but what do you think the best career move would be for him? At the moment, it looks like he's going to be staying at Charlton anyway, so perhaps it's kind of academic that we're asking this question. But he's got to make the right decision, hasn't he? If the offer does come in.
He's still young, and he started the last couple of games. So I don't know why he'd moved to Chelsea. Obviously, it's a great opportunity for him. Obviously, if he does go, but I don't know. I just think under a manager like Johnny Jackson as well, there seems to be a feel good factor, obviously from the start of his tenure as well. So for me, I think it would be a nonsensical move for him. And you would say, well, surely he's got to move up to a higher level, maybe be loaned to the Championship. Maybe he's kind of raise his performance levels. But he's already got the likes of Connor Washington in there and Chuks Aneke as well. And I think for me, he's got the adequate kind of competition in there to thrive already at Charlton. So I think, where he is right now at the Valley is the best place for him to thrive in the right environment. So, he's only 18 as well. So there's absolutely no rush. And I think for me, you mentioned Ryan Sessegnon in the last in the last topic, and I think for me, he's got to learn from the likes of Jack Clark and Ryan Sessegnon, kind of jumping ship to a Premier League club, kind of perhaps a little bit too early. So I think that's kind of a lesson that he can learn. Obviously, he could thrive, in the Chelsea youth system. But for me, he should be sticking to a senior level for the benefit of his career. And he's going to make mistakes as well. And he's only young, so for me, I think his best option is to stay here as well. And Chuks Nico was obviously very good as well off the bench for Lebo, previously. So there's always a temptation that Jackson could, perhaps use Anike from the bench and start Burstow more. So there's definitely going to be plenty of first team opportunities for him.
As quoted by the South London Press, Sandgard did say, we've got multiple Premier League teams who are fishing to see if they can do a quick deal when it comes to Burstow, but none of them have currently hit the price level that is expecting. So clearly the Charlton owner is holding out for a fee for Burstow, and that's obviously good to see as well, given the previous tenureships we've seen at the Valley in recent years. One more to talk about in depth before we sign off, and that's Owen Olasowi. Barnsley and Sheffield Wednesday are eyeing the Club Bruges man on loan. Adam, I mean, the first question is, have you seen much of this guy? Obviously based in Belgium at the moment. And, you look at Barnsley in particular, they obviously need to try and do some more business before the deadline. Where could you see him perhaps doing a better job, though? Obviously two different divisions, but potentially the two sides could swap leagues by the end of this season.
Yeah, I think he was at Wolves, I think, or somewhere like that before he made the move to Belgium and made a very limited number of appearances. So, for me, I think he should suit kind of Sheffield Wednesday more. I think Barnsley, he's like kind of Jay Fulton in a way, kind of that defensive midfielder who kind of provide that kind of shield in front of the back three. Now, for me, I think they'd be better off Barnsley going for Jay Fulton, someone with a little bit more championship experience in there, and also I think it was Jake Bidwell that moved to Coventry City for a free transfer as well. So there's definitely a bargain deal to be done there. If Barnsley did approach Bolton, I think that would probably be perhaps the better financial move. Maybe they wouldn't be able to sell him on as much as they would, with this target. But I think for me, having championship experience, in a dogfight, in a relegation dogfight, I think is absolutely crucial. And there's also the case as well, they probably need kind of like kind of an Alex Mowat type figure as well instead. That kind of contributions kind of in terms of goals and assists going forward. And I think for me, now that Corley Woodrow's out for a while, I think it'd be a decent signing for them if they went for a more kind of attacking minded midfielder. I think both Bolton and attacking midfielder would be a good signing. In terms of Sheffield Wednesday, perhaps he's a Lewis Wing replacement or something like that. I think as well the defence needs protection. They've obviously struggled massively in defence with obviously players being unavailable in recent times as well, which has caused a bit of turbulence in there. And also he can fill in as a centre back himself. So if they get desperate, then I think for me that would be a decent move. His versatility is going to work to Darren Moore's benefit. So, I think it would be a better move for Sheffield Wednesday. And if he isn't lining up in central defence, then he'll provide that layer of defensive protection anyway from the centre of the park. So for me, that would be a very good signing for Sheffield Wednesday. Maybe not so much for Barnsley, but we'll soon see what happens.
We certainly shall. Let's do a quick roundup then of the transfer stories that have broken while we've been on there, and then we will sign off for the afternoon. Bournemouth have confirmed the signing of Nat Phillips on loan from Liverpool. Quickly, Adam, that could be a potentially good signing for the Cherries.
I'm surprised. I thought he'd go to another Premier League club. After playing so much last season amid Liverpool's injury crisis, I thought that he'd earn himself a move to the Premier League. But for me, I think he's 24 now. So in terms of Bournemouth, if they get up, then they could potentially negotiate a permanent transfer. And I think for all parties, that would probably be the best probably option for that. So I'd be surprised if there wasn't kind of a permanent option. Maybe an obligation to buy if they go up. I think that's a good signing though. Obviously with Steve Cook going, so for me that would be a very good signing for them, and I think they should definitely pursue that and do everything they can to get that one over the line.
Okay, one that doesn't sound like it's going to be happening now, despite being widely reported earlier this month. The Jed Wallace to Forest deal apparently off, according to Will Unwin. Adam, surprised by that one?
Yeah, I'm a little bit. I saw the notification come up midway through the show, and I was a bit surprised. I almost lost, where I was. I almost lost my train of thought because he's been so heavily linked there. I thought it would eventually get over the line. Obviously, with John Percy reporting it as well and others. Obviously, they have been heavily pursuing him. And it's probably better for Millwall to get something rather than nothing, kind of in financial terms, kind of, because obviously his contract runs out at the end of the season. There's literally no chance of him really signing a new deal. Maybe I'll eat my words in a few months, but yeah, it's a bit of a strange one. But I think Nottingham Forest are kind of going in low with transfer fees and offers. I think the same probably applied with Semenyo as well. So I'm not surprised that bids have been rejected, but I'm surprised that they haven't managed to get it over the line.
Okay, and one final one that's broken, one major one that's broken. While we've been on air, Football Insider reporting that Aidan O'Brien is set to join Portsmouth on a permanent deal from Sunderland. Initial reaction to that one, Adam?
Yeah, I think it would be a decent signing for Portsmouth. Obviously, he's not always been in the Portsmouth team as well, because of obviously the front three as well of Ross Stewart and Aidan McGeady and Lyndon Gooch as well. He's not always had that kind of chance to thrive really at the stadium and play. So I think this move benefits him perhaps the most. And also, it could be a decent option for Portsmouth. Obviously, he's got a point to prove as well, obviously, after not playing a huge amount anyway. And Sean, I think it was in the Carabao Cup earlier in the season. So he's definitely got a point to prove, as I say. And I think for me, that would be a good outcome for all parties if that deal was to materialise.
Okay, that's that for this edition of the EFL Transfer Zone. We're not quite done yet, though. On Football League World TV today, we've got two more Transfer Zone shows coming up. 6 p.m, Ben Wignall hosting. He's joined by Chris Gallagher. Then 8 p.m, Ben Wignall hosting again. He's joined by Toby Wilding. Plenty of stories set to come in the coming hours. Up to the deadline later this evening, do keep across footballleague.co.uk even to keep across all the stories, and obviously keep watching on Football League on TV as well. We're on YouTube. Do like the channel if you can, and like this video as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. But for myself and Adam, it's bye for now.